Hey everybody, it's Christian Buckley doing another MVP Buzz Chat, and I'm here with Tom. Hello.
Hey, Christian.
I'm glad we
Thank
got it
you.
all working. Technology, it can work sometimes.
Sometimes not.
It-
But yeah, with the special, turn it off and on again.
I know that a couple times. It's all it is. We got out, we pushed. Here we are. Tom, for folks that don't know you, who are you? Where are you? And what do you do?
Well, I'm Tom Rolvers and living in the Netherlands. Actually, just MVP for a few days now. I had the most best welcome ever, and a lot of messages from people. Yeah, it's such an excited thing to start it up and see what kind of new opportunities it brings in forums like this. I mean, you invited me to the interview, which I found already exciting to tell some more about what I do and what I love to do, and that is community work,
Yeah.
sharing knowledge.
Well, it's always fun when I see. I usually do the rounds at the beginning of the month when I see, new MVPs being welcomed in, and I reach out via LinkedIn and be like, "Hey!" And sometimes I'll come across other, seasoned or veteran MVPs that have been around a long time that I'm still not connected to. I've never done an interview with, and so it's always a mixture of old and new MVPs, but it's great to meet the brand new, spanking new, shiny new MVPs and kind of understand their origin story. So, why don't you give me that? What's that background? What was your path to becoming an MVP?
Well, actually, a pretty rough one, I must say, because I didn't like school that much. I'd rather play outside or especially play with computers, just tinkering and how do they work. I had a bunch of old equipment which I was able to put together and be able to learn more about how it works. So I had my floppies and be able to play Paint, which was awesome in back in the time, or even the legendary floppy of Doom to play Doom on
Mm-hmm.
PC that I was able to put together from some old pieces. Um, from there on, it actually started, but because I dropped out of school and rather went into playing games or anything else, um, they say you can go do a job with computers. So I went into welding, so construction welding to be
Yeah.
honest. So I started out with that, and then the company go bankrupt, and they say we have to leave you. And so a colleague of mine said, "Dude, you're great with computers. You should do something with it." And I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna try." So I went back to school, tried something with school, then further on got a job.
Wait,
The
did you
job,
finish the school though? Did it, or did you
no,
leave again? Yeah.
somewhat.
Okay. All right. All right.
Somewhat, because it didn't go that fast to me and I wanted to learn more. I wanted
Yeah.
to go on adventure like we do now in the cloud and
Well,
see the new features
that's
and
why.
stuff.
Honestly, I don't to interrupt you. Sorry that like the whole concept of like what. Why are like why not more trade schools where you could go in? Like I had a brother-in-law who went in, was already self-taught, was a coder for years, but never had the degree, hated formal education like that. He just really struggled. It wasn't the way his brain worked, and he went and did one of these 16-week certificate programs, like where they're just hardcore. They're like basically they're I'm not basically they're living there at the facility and in there, 12, 14 hours in the labs, and then going out and doing projects together. And I mean, that's an incredibly, it's technical, in-depth, you're in it, living that, and you come out of that as a pro at that technology. Like we
Yeah,
need more of
you get
that.
you get way more hands-on experience by doing such things. And let's say, for example, the old school hack the box was like a page, and you had to hack yourself in. You have no knowledge of anything, and you just try it, and you figure new things out. And along the way, you see how it works, and you take that along for your with you within your whole life. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
networking, coding, all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically the way. And then I got started with jobs, and yeah, eventually went through all it. And then I came at Yellow Arrow in Nunspeet, which is a small town. And yeah, we seeked somebody that would pull the cart to do security. So once I went starting with Sentinel and Defender,
Mm-hmm.
the whole process, I had like questions, and there wasn't really a colleague yet that I could chat around with about that. So I went into the community, and the first session I had was from another MVP, Koos Goossens, who talked about Sentinel that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a lot from it. And with the pieces I got from the community evening, I went back home and start puzzling again. And I got my way to finalize some more Sentinel deployments, to keep it that simple.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned from it that I learned something from the community. And at that point, I was like, I have to do something in return. So I spoke to the people that organize the Dutch Microsoft Security Meetup, and they say, you should speak. At first, it was all pretty scary to do,
Yeah.
to be honest. But Maarten Goed told me back then, just go for it, man. There's always somebody that learns from it. And I was like, let's go.
It might
I
be
started
you.
speaking.
It might be you learning from it, but yes.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
with the pointing, indeed. So I gave it a shot at Experts Live and had a good feedback. And then I did on the security meetup as well. And that's where it started off. And after a while, last December, they said, how about you join us in co-organizing such events? Because I love community events. And together with that, we also went on adventure with Yellowhead that we organized in March, which was an awesome event where we did a live streaming together with live audience, around 120 people.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite a hustle on all the organizing part and keep the schedule on, because live stream and schedule, it was all really tight. But it went out with a success and really cool event that we're going to put up next year again. So that
Very
is
cool.
quite the adventure I took to learn, to give something in return, and hope new people will do the same, and that keeps the life cycle intact.
Yeah. Just do you have then an MVP that came to you and said, "Hey, this is something that you should take a look at the program"? Did they nominate you without your knowledge, or kind of what was that process?
Of course, I had my blog in the background where my idea was to have some kind of wiki for myself. But then I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? I can also share it on the internet and see if anyone can use it for their own.
Right.
So I keep placing those blogs. And at some point, I had people that were like, are you an MVP? And I said, no, I'm not an MVP. Then people came, you should be an MVP. And I was like, we'll see. I wasn't actually thinking about it because I already do what I love within my job, the community work we do. So there was no thoughts. But at some point, I had a few people that that asked me if I would like to do that. And Reisha, who works at Microsoft, she said, you should be a Microsoft. I can nominate you. So at that point, I was like, multiple people saying that, let's go for it. And that was the way. And I'm really happy that I did, because it opened up a lot for me to be able to do what I like. So what can I say?
Well,
It's a bit overwhelming, I must say.
yeah. That's always the thing. I mean, that's probably the number one response is people say when you get into, you get flooded with. I mean, people reaching out to the community and the congratulations. I'm sure you've already had dozens of people approaching you like, how did you become an MVP? Like, what is that process like? Is something, can you nominate me? And you're like, people that you've never met are asking you to nominate them. It's like whoa. We should know each other before we nominate, but but with all of the the NDA calls, the flood, the like new email threads, like all those things out there, it's a lot. And you're trying to still do your job, you're trying to still give back to the community. It's a lot. And so my advice is always very simple: is pace yourself. You don't have to say yes to everything. Do what you enjoy. but you can say no. It's okay. To
That's
some things.
definitely something I need to learn. And I must say that it is getting better and better by the day. I mean, I have 2 kids, so
Hmm.
something with time. I also do cycle a lot to clear the mind and keep a bit in shape, for
Hmm.
example. So yeah, everything together. It is a pretty tight schedule, but it is possible. So
Yeah.
with all the evenings that I'm up on to a community evening or whatever, I like it. So
Yeah.
it is somewhat easy to do, if I can say so.
Would you say as far as your contributions, are you more of a writer? Are you more like just the community, the user group participation and speaker, that kind of thing? What are your primary contribution types?
Um, I think it is a mixture of. I'm not. I cannot say that I'm a really good writer. I find it sometimes hard to write down anything on a blog because it is not my native language in English.
Yeah.
I must say that it is pretty okay. Technically wise, I want to add more a lot, but that is something that I find along the road. The whole blogging part was like I start with something like explain what my home lab does and hey, I'm busy with KQL. What does KQL do? What is the whole new Custo query detective challenges, for example? So I started off with that and learn along the road what blocking is, and I think I got a pretty good mixture of what I have right now. Not anything that I have a lot of statistics or so, but I'm like, if people can read it and they enjoy it, I'm fine with that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I need no statistics to prove that. And then together with a mix of community work, so yeah, I believe it is a bit of a blog and community, and I think speaking opportunities is something that I want to go for at the end of at least next year, that I can attend to more of those events to be able to speak,
Yeah.
because I do like it since the last 2 times.
Yeah, look, there's always going to be those kinds of opportunities. I'm at the stage now. Been doing this for quite some time. I've been doing tech for 34 years now, and I don't feel the need to run off and do like all the events. I kind of pick, submit to my favorites, and I just try to do the things that I enjoy. I mean, like that's what makes it sustainable, is if you enjoy doing it. I always say that the stuff that I do, the interviews, series like this, the blogging, speaking, creating web, video content, webinars, just all that kind of stuff. Like I was doing that stuff before there was the MVP program. I'm going to do it after the MVP program. It's just part of the
Exactly.
way that I tick. I like building content, sharing what I'm learning, kind of learning out loud, and that's generally the kind of people that the program likes to identify, the people that are doing this anyway, regardless.
Yeah, that's what I told with the nomination too. Is like whether or not it is being accepted, yes or no. I'll just do what I do right now,
Yeah.
and that is continue. And um, it can only be more, to be
Right.
precise.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, there's always going to be opportunities.
Yeah.
And something that I always throw out there to people too, if they're like watching this, and I'm sure you're going to say yes to this, but if someone approached you and said, "Hey, Tom, I'm reading your stuff, or I saw you present this conference. Like I've been thinking a lot about this topic. Would you be interested in doing a joint session together at a user group or something around that?" Like, how would you respond to that?
I'd definitely go into it and see what kind of thoughts he has about it, and what kind of pieces of the feature, for example, we want to scope into. And
Yeah.
if somebody is, let's say, in my early days, I always was scared to share some information because you think it is not good enough. You probably know what I
Yep.
mean.
Yep.
So at that point, people took me with them to just go for it.
Yeah.
So I'll do the same for other people.
I think we're also worried about. In fact, I think the first couple times I was presenting in this community, because I had been part of a user group, run user groups, years before over in the IBM technology world. So back in the 90s and early 2000s, and had run user groups and organized community events. So like over on this side, I was a little more seasoned in it. But people just kept telling me, it's like, well, are you ready for if there's hecklers and things out there? Like, first I was like, well, what does that actually mean? Who's going to like intentionally sit there and heckle the speaker? And then I saw it actually happen. It does happen, but rarely. But I think that we psych ourselves out a little too much about all the things that could go wrong with it, when most of the time, I realize that these speakers, they may have more in-depth knowledge on that topic than I do. They've practiced it, they've explored things, they've deployed it with clients, things like that around tech, but they're just like us. They're going through, they're sharing stuff out there. They don't know all the answers, and they're doing their best. And so I think you ask questions, you point out if there's a gap in what they're sharing, or they skip past something that you think is important. Like, raise your hand, jump in, and make it in more of an interactive. I had a presentation that I gave where afterwards I had somebody in the crowd that was asking a lot of questions, questioning my demos, some of the points that I was making, and people came up afterwards and they were angry at him, like, I can't believe that he was doing that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He was right. Like, those are great points. I went back and improved my content because of those questions. Like, I saw nothing wrong with it. I wasn't taking offense by that.
So let's grab a beer and talk.
Right. I was willing to learn. I was, sharing what I know, my knowledge, my experience. And then I want to know if somebody comes in with another scenario, did you know you could also do it this way? Like, I had no idea. That's fantastic. Thank you.
That's also a community thing that I like. And as you say, in our normal work, we use a lot of features. So we get to know features. And some people in the crowd are not every single day in their Microsoft environment. So the knowledge that we do, other people in the crowd also do. They can share it all along within that same session. Of course, if you're a speaker and you'd rather not have any questions, I'd rather say, hey, see you afterwards and let's discuss specific topics or anything. You can do that, of course, but people are free to do whatever they, whatever they like to speak of.
I'm the opposite. I'm like, I would tell them, I said, look, I've got all this material. I said, but if you guys have questions, if we want to take it in a different direction, like, I'd rather have the interaction. So I'd rather have that more classroom type atmosphere than, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I did a session at the M365 conference last month where, it was full. There wasn't an open seat. They were turning people away at the door. It was, I don't know how many people, 400 something, 500 people. It was packed in there. That's great. That's a good ego boost of like, hey, around the session. But then again, they're not there for me. They're there about the technology to hear about those topics. But honestly, I'd rather have 15, 20 people in a room and lots of questions than 500 people in a room where it's just me talking.
Yeah, so
that's my preference.
Skip the basics and just go in. What are their questions? Why are they
right?
There? What do they want to have?
What are you What are you trying to get out of this topic? What are you trying to learn? Yeah,
that's how I learned basically. So yeah, I'm really thankful to that for the community, and that's for about 3 years now or so, I can say. So
yeah. No, I mean, it's funny. Like, I was thinking about how, when I started to drive, I had my first car that I went out and bought was a 1952 Chevy Bel Air. So really old. It had a straight four. I know everybody says it had those, like, it had a slanted four. Nope, it had straight four. You open up this hood of this giant steel, I don't know, monster of a vehicle. And there's rods coming out in this little engine, and you see the ground all around it, things, but it's very basic. So I could learn how to do things, fix certain things in it. Yeah. And thankfully it broke a lot. So I was able to fix things a lot and learn a lot from that. But getting your hands dirty, being in there, living it. And even when demos, just today, I was demoing something and something didn't go right. It worked when I ran it, the same demo yesterday. It's something changed within the online service, this evergreen platform that is Microsoft 365. Something changed, something broke. Maybe I did something slightly different, but just talking about it, showing enough other things, explaining, oh, I see what this may have been an error. I might have done this wrong. This is things to worry about. But here, let me show you the other result from the last time I ran it. And people are like understanding. They get it. Like this is it's a work in progress, and the technology is constantly changing.
It is, and at that point, you just have to do whatever is on, to show people other things. But yeah, the demo gods are not always with us, so we have to keep trying.
I just sometimes I know I did something to make them angry. You have to do the sacrifice, some kind of animal or small human at the beginning, just to make sure it all goes smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tom, I really appreciate you taking the time to meeting, and congratulations again on the MVP. And I always like to say, I know in your profile you've got your MVP profile. Of course, I'll have it in the blog post with all the links and out on YouTube. Where are you most active in social? Like if people want to reach out and connect with you, where's the best place to find you? Is it pretty much LinkedIn, or are you active in other social platforms?
I don't have any socials like Facebook or Instagram or anything. I'm not really into that, and stopped that around, I believe, 7 or 8 years ago.
Yep.
So the best way is to go to LinkedIn to my page, and if you want to send me a message or have any questions, feel free to do so. Otherwise, my website, I have anything on there that shows Blue Sky, Twitter, just those kind of things to be able to keep in touch with people. And so if there are any questions from people, feel free to do so.
Yeah, reach out. Well, I always say, like, don't be a stranger. MVPs, we are some of the most social people. So if you want to connect with us, reach out, connect with us.
Sure.
But provide a note like, hey, I saw you at this, or I read this, or there's a reason why. I'd like to connect with you.
Yeah, that's another thing that I came across last event that I went. Many faces, but sometimes you don't remind or have met them before. So I was like, do I know the dude? I'm not sure. Never spoke to him, but yeah, it's probably from the internet. So that is something new. So if I'm looking at somebody like strange in a strange way, that's probably that I'm still thinking, have we met before?
Have we met before? Right.
Maybe not. Maybe yes.
Yeah. Well, Tom, really appreciate your time, and we'll connect soon.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me joining up on the interview, and looking forward to keep in touch.